Welcome to Confluence, the podcast where hospitality, leadership, and mindset come together. Join your hosts, Santiago and Kristen, co-founders of The Columbian, a multi-cafe and roastery in Canada, as they delve into the transformative power of these three key elements on your business.
So, Kristen, how are you today? Podcast number 2. How exciting.
I know. Podcast 2. I feel like there's a lot of really exciting things happening lately.
Yeah, super exciting. I was at the job site for store number 6 today.
Yeah.
The painter finished yesterday. The millwork guy started today. The bar's starting to come together. So, yeah, it's starting to look like a coffee shop.
I know, and I just started advertising that we're hiring for our Sherwood Park team. So
cool. I got to put a great team for that city, for that town. Yeah, we got to show up and show the community what the Columbian can do.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. We are, trying to find a new neighbor for our Glenora location right now. We've got a pretty sweet retail spot that's just opened. So
yeah, super cool. So lots of cool things.
Yeah.
So Confluence podcast. What are we talking about today?
You know, company culture is, I think, I feel like it's become a bit of a buzzword. People, you often hear them kind of in that corporate lingo talking about, what's your company culture about, or your corporate culture? Is it a really healthy culture? Is it a really toxic culture? And I think in some ways, the aspect of a culture I would say is really like the personality of what your business is. It's something that you can just let happen organically, and it's also something that you could specifically design. And I think, we've had a lot of conversations about this. If you choose to let the culture or the personality of your company just kind of form organically, you are really relying on a group of people that have come from various different backgrounds and experiences dictate what that culture might be.
100%.
So I think that just letting it happen organically is not really a wise decision for a business that has a lot of purpose behind it. What do you think?
You know what? The Columbian has taught me that when you're intentional about anything and everything in business, you see the rewards from that. And yes, like you said, like a lot of companies, and actually happens all the time, where like people just think, okay, I want to put a concept together, I want to open a business, I have this dream, and they think about the product, they think about what like the place is going to look like, but then they maybe just don't know that the most important thing is the culture. Like, how do you attract the right people? How do you put them in the right seats? And how do you actually tell them where you're going? And how do you tell them this is how we operate? So I think we have been very fortunate with the fact that we found a way, which is having a values-based company.
Yeah.
And I think we have learned that having a values-based company, it's full-time work because you're always working on the culture. It's like you have a nursery with plants, and you have to water them every day. You have to fertilize them. And is it always perfect? No. Culture changes, but you always have, or it doesn't change, it evolves. So you always have to kind of like keep a pulse on it. And I think we have learned that as you add more people to the team, it kind of changes the dynamics. And as you become bigger, you really have to look at what are the values that really matter for you as you scale up. Because like, I don't know if you remember, we started with 10 values. Today we have 4.
Yeah.
And I think the more clear that you are with your people, the more you remove ambiguity, the easier it is for them to actually understand that. So I think we have the 4 values today that we operate under, and I think those have served us really well.
Absolutely. And I think I want us to share what our values are,
sure,
because I think that will help give more context. But I think before we do that, we're talking about culture, and we've mentioned that it's like a personality. But I think it would be valuable to just go into like, what is a culture and why is it important? You have you have a workplace that, you know, we're coming to, we have a team that's coming to. I would say that building a culture that's very intentional, we can pull people from totally different backgrounds. And when we hire people, for example, like they are from different backgrounds, we're not hiring typically people that have worked in coffee, we're training them. But having that intentional culture, I see every day, creates a place where people actually enjoy coming to work. Like,
Yes.
will we enjoy being there? And I think when you have something that's well designed and you have like a really healthy personality for your business, I think that's going to naturally happen.
Yeah, I think like literally is the soul of the business.
Yeah.
Like when you have a culture, it attracts the right people, and you're able to share your purpose as a business, and you find people that align with that purpose. So for values, we have 4. The first one is that we pursue excellence. And I know a lot of companies use pursuing excellence, and I think it's become also kind of like a buzzword. But I think the difference between using a buzzword and actually like understanding what it means is walking the talk. And what is pursuing excellence? It doesn't mean that everything has to be perfect, because it's unrealistic. But I think what you can look at is like, how can I make everything that we do 80% or better? So you're always pursuing that 100%, knowing that 80% is very good. 80% is better than most of your competitors, is better than most of the people out there. So when you're pursuing that excellence, it means like in hospitality, is like, how do you interact with your customers the best way possible? How do you offer the best products? How do you serve them in the best way? How do you train your people the best? How do you set up your systems the best? And not just like saying, okay, that's good enough. It's like, no, like this thing worked, but how can we make it better tomorrow? So we start with that, pursuing excellence.
I see the pursuing excellence piece. It is something that we do within our business, like business wide. All of our team, they're also behind these values. So I think that's a really important piece, is you can set up a set of values, but if the leadership within your business is not intentionally using and activating those values every single day and uses it to make all of the decisions in a business, then it will just be words on a website or like, you know, a poster on the wall in the back lunchroom.
And I think that's what most people are
Yeah.
used to when they join a workplace. They play you an orientation where it's a video and it's like, this is the things that we do, hurrah, super cool, and then they just throw you under the bus. And I think where we have been intentional is then like making sure that we live the values.
Yeah.
And then that brings us to value number 2 is like we work as a team.
Yeah.
I've worked in places where they have like this person that is like godified or is like the rock star of the business, and then that person leaves and they just leave a mess behind. And then when you actually look at it, it's like if you work as a team, everybody has different strengths and different weaknesses, but they're less noticeable when you build a team that is cohesive and everybody communicates, everybody is expected to do anything and everything in the business. So like that's where like training, creating that kind of like that leadership system that you are managing. But when you lead and you manage, you create something very special, which is accountability.
Yes.
And then the accountability doesn't just come from the leaders, but it comes from the team within, because now we work as a team. So it's like that feeling of like, oh, well, this person maybe doesn't quite get this task. I'm going to go and help them, regardless of whether I am a manager or whether I'm just a barista or whether I'm just one of the employees. I'm going to go there and try and help that person.
And I think absolutely. And with that specific value, our value number 2, we work as a team. That I mean, all of our values are important.
Yeah.
The working as a team piece, I just see that piece as being such a massive part of what our company culture is, because we are so team oriented. Mm-hmm. So even if we have someone new, I mean, I've witnessed things in other businesses, even just being a customer, and you can tell when someone's new, and if you look at the way that their team members treat them, maybe particularly the team members who have more experience, I've seen them treat new people really badly and almost like shame them or scold
Yeah, they're
them
dismissive
and
of
like
them.
be dismissive and not
Yeah.
support them. And so the working as a team, it's like we are a team. We all are at different places. We all have like a common goal. We're in this together. We're going to support each other. We're going to be kind to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that in our team at all 5 of our shops, like every single day. Our team really does live that teamwork.
Yeah, it's-
You know, it's not like if we have one of our store managers, they're not going to just send the new person just to go clean the washrooms. They're going to go do it. Like everyone's cross-trained in everything. And I think that has been huge because everyone feels important and valued regardless, and they know they're going to be supported.
100%. Yeah, I think like teamwork is a great thing. The other thing that has been a big commandment for us, or like value number 3 as we call it, is putting on the show. And this is actually a very special one to me because it's actually something that we borrow from Walt Disney.
Yeah.
And I think it's that premise that Walt Disney had where some people are only able to make the trip to Walt Disney World or whatever it is, whichever park it is, once in their lifetime. And they design it in a way, and not just the park, but the whole interaction or the whole experience is like, how do we make these people remember us forever? And that really resonated with me when we started the Colombian, because I knew we had amazing coffee. Like we're sourcing from some great producers in Colombia. But my biggest qualm with a specialty coffee is that some of the people that carry the best coffee have this novice people in the industry, and I think coffee needs to be served in whichever way the guest or the consumer wants it. So I really wanted to kind of like make magic. And what does making magic look like? Getting to know your guests that come through the door, getting to understand what their needs are, greeting them, thanking them, being grateful for the fact that they allow you to have a business to come in for a barista. It allows you to actually have a job in that industry that you so much love. So like we make magic, we take great coffee, and we infuse those two together. And by doing that, we are not just serving coffee, but we are creating an experience. Mm-hmm. And I think this is something that has given me a lot of purpose, because at the end of the day, this value is probably the one that has pushed us towards deciding what our core focus is. Mm-hmm. And as a core focus, it's not coffee. It's making people feel special, right? So putting on the show is like, how can we create the best experience every time for every one of our guests?
And I think, putting on the show in the context of like a coffee shop, mm-hmm. it really is such a simple concept. I think that many, many businesses, whether it's a coffee shop or a different business, miss the mark on this. Mm-hmm. This value is, I believe, one of the really big reasons that our business is so beloved in our community, because when people walk in to our shop, they're greeted. And that's what our value is, putting on the show. We infuse that value into our staff so powerfully, and it's simple. Greet the customer when they come in, say hello, acknowledge them. Yeah. Just even that small thing makes such a big difference in someone having a good experience, getting to know their name, thanking them for coming in. It's very, very tiny, tiny little pieces of magic that just make something really memorable 100%. for a guest. And it's been absolutely huge. And people, I think, often call this like customer service. I don't love the name customer service because it's not. Yeah.
It's not service.
No.
It's an experience. And that's why, like, we're not in the coffee industry. We're in hospitality.
It's hospitality.
And I think, like, a lot of people just think, oh, I'm in service, food service, coffee. No, you're in hospitality. And, like, you're there to... Anybody can make coffee. Like, 7 years ago, we did not know how to make coffee. Today, we serve coffee, but it's not just the coffee, but we create experiences for people. And that's what adds value to that coffee.
Absolutely.
So the last value is we are grateful.
Yeah.
And I think when we sat around with our team and kind of like reject our values, this is the one that also came because our dream was to bring coffee from my family's farm.
Yeah.
And that happened. And then the dream transformed or evolved into maybe a couple more coffee shops. And today we have this big goal of pursuing 75 stores, not because we want stores, like more stores, but we want 75 communities that we can actually directly impact, because that's what happens when the Colombian opens in a community. Yeah. It's we impact that community, we create that gathering spot. So we are grateful. Why? Because today we are able to do that, not just because we want to do it, but because we have an amazing group of people that work for us, for whom we're very grateful for. And they allow us to actually open the doors every day and actually serve these communities. But also the expectation is for the people that work for us to be grateful for the fact that we are pushing them outside of their comfort zone by talking about pursuing excellence, talking to them about like teamwork and the value that's in it, allowing them to know what hospitality looks like. So they're not just learning a skill for coffee or for hospitality. This is a life skill that it doesn't matter even if you become a lawyer or if you become a doctor, you are learning tools that you're going to be translating into that. So I think those 4 values are the things that have allowed us to then have that culture that we talk about.
Yes.
Because then we have literally tailor-made that culture in our business. And I guess I'll share with whoever's listening, and maybe a reminder for you. Like I worked in a lot of hospitality jobs growing up. I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia. And the common denominator of working in in a kitchen or working in a restaurant or serving or bartending is that there was always kind of like this like little tinge of kind of like toxicity there, where like people didn't get along, or it was like different cliques or like different kind of like people that liked each other and they didn't. And I didn't want that, because I wanted to be in a place of purpose for our business. Mm-hmm. So I think what running a values-based company has allowed us to do is create that environment where, regardless of whoever comes into our business, they get to contribute all of their strengths and all of their things, but under that framework of you're here to pursue excellence, you're here to work as a team, you're here to put on the show, and you're here to be grateful. So it just like kind of like gives you that roadmap that we can always talk to someone when we are actually telling them about like their performance. Mm-hmm. It's not personal. It's more about like, hey, like this is the value that's important to the business. No Kristen or Santiago, but like this is what the business is, and this is where you have to perform, and this is how we operate. So I think that has been a great tool for us, and it is very hard to be a values-based company, because you have to be a leader, be a coach, create accountability, which sometimes some people don't like, because you have to have some conflict, and conflict has been sold to us as this thing that, we don't want conflict, we want everybody to get along. But the reality is that healthy conflict is very good, because it actually brings resolution to things, rather than just like having something bottled up for months and then one day you just explode on someone. To where like conflict is great, and that creates a culture of respect, of trust, where like if you address things right away, you're really able to know where you stand, right?
Yeah, I think a really good example, even of sharing that we use these values to run our business, and the people that we have attracted to work for us, we are very clear with them. Like even like through the interview process, about what our values are.
Yes.
And I think it's very, very powerful. It's a very powerful way to hire. If people are aligned and excited when we share what our values are, and it happens all the time, then it's like they're a good fit. They're going to be a good culture fit, very likely. If there's someone that comes in for an interview, even if they have an incredible interview, but they hear the values and they're like, they're just not feeling it, that's okay.
No, it's totally fine. It just means that they don't have
okay.
an alignment with us.
But they're not going to have an alignment, so it wouldn't be a good fit for them or for us or our team. So when you are truly using your values to operate your business, you are using it for everything. You're using it for hiring. You're using it for day-to-day interactions. You're using it for performance reviews. You're using it to even to gauge like your employee satisfaction. You're using it to like move forward in your business. You're using it for everything. And like you said, it becomes like not personal. So if there is something that comes up, amongst your team, it's a lot easier to deal with conflict because as professionals, you're going to deal with it right away. And you're going to base it against the values.
100%.
Yeah.
And it just really just creates that roadmap for every decision or everything that is done.
Yeah.
And like it just has allowed us to employ some really great people, and like I couldn't say enough about them. Like we employ 60 people, all of them work super hard. It's crazy because like lately in interviews when people ask me, like what is it like to work here, and it's like you're in a high performance sports team and everybody wants to be on the starting lineup, and everybody's super competitive, pushing each other to not just like make the best coffee, but like how can we make this place the best. And what I've seen is that the people that work for us today, or a grand majority of them, have an alignment with those values because they care for people, because it is important for them to do that. They are also high performers. These are people that either are going to school to do something very cool, or they want a career in hospitality and they're just trying to really kind of like cement those bases for them. So it's like super cool to see all those individuals that have an alignment with something that me and you dreamed up. And it's like, I'm so grateful to be able to like step back and look at it today, and it's like, wow, we put that thing together, and I think that's when things get hard, because like the reality is business entrepreneurship, it's hard. Sometimes it can be frustrating because it's not perfect. Sometimes the culture hits a bump because we're growing, or because maybe somebody interpreted the values differently, and it makes it hard. I always think of those moments where it's like, no, but it can be so good. So, and that's why we do it. Because when it's good, it's so good, and it needs to be like that, like 80% of the time, right? Like, like I think when you have issues, is an opportunity to maybe evolve and like reevaluate the values and how they're being interpreted, especially if you scale up the way that we're trying to do it. But I think it's like a great addition. Like I feel so thankful that we stumbled onto what a values-based company was when we did.
Yeah, and we did. Like at the beginning, like we started our business at the farmers markets, but when we had decided that we were going to open an actual like coffee shop, like brick and mortar, we had made that decision as these newbie entrepreneurs that we wanted a values-based business. So I would love to right now, like on the fly, like offer kind of like steps for anyone listening that would want to do a values-based business. I think one of the first things is you should keep it from like 3 to 7 values.
No, 3 to 5.
Yeah, 5, I guess 3 to 5.
Yeah, remember we started with 10, we went down to 3.
It was 13.
Was it?
Yeah.
Really? I thought it was 10. It's just too much. I think it leaves a lot of
so 3 to 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think like 3 to 5 will be great. I think even more than how many they are is what they are, because ultimately when you are an entrepreneur or a business owner, you are the visionary of that business, and it is your sweat, blood, and tears being poured into that thing. So, number one is, how do you align with those values, right?
Yeah. You can't just, you can get inspiration for your
Yes.
values.
Yeah.
However, you shouldn't just take someone else's set of values and then run with those. They have to align with what you feel is important, like
Yeah.
with what you want the personality of your business
Yeah, and
to be.
it needs to align,
Yeah.
because if they don't align with you,
Yeah.
they're definitely not going to. You're not going to follow them.
It's not going to be natural.
No, and then it's not going to be natural, and it's just going to be kind of like this imposting on you that, oh, now I have to do this. I think it's very important that they align with you. Another thing is being intentional about letting people know why. This is why, because this is the outcome of us living this life, or like following this value. And I think that also allows you to see who you're going to hire.
Oh yeah, like you can't be shy about sharing your values,
No.
and you can't ever feel like you've said them too many times.
Yeah.
It takes, how many times is it for someone to remember something?
Is
it like-
Actually, it used to be 7.
Yeah.
And then I read a study recently, and it takes 21 times, because everybody's like scrolling or like
Yes.
flipping on their
Yeah.
phone. They need to see it 21 times. So like you got to repeat something to people 21 times. But you know what? We could totally talk about just values forever, because like I have so many things to say.
Yeah.
But I think read into what a values-based company is, if you're listening, because there's many different ways to approach it. We used it to tailor make our culture, and I think that's what has made the Colombian special.
It's like, there's no question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so thanks for putting this together today, Kristen. It's fun sharing this with people, and I think we have a couple other things in store for the next episodes.
We absolutely do.
Yeah, awesome.
All right. Okay. Till next time.
Till next time.